Hello friends, and it's funkyplaybrothers, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. And today I'm reading He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Tales of Eternia, The Hunt for Mossman, a New York Times bestselling author, Gregory Mann, a Netflix animated series. Book 1, Chapter 22, Part 2. As last time we left off, He-Man and Skeletor were fighting with Trapjaw and others. I forgot their names. As Battlecat leaped toward Beastman, the Dark Master snapped his savage spine-like lash of beast, stunning the tiger. Then Beastman dug his sharp claws into the ground and jumped at Battlecat. The pair met in a colossal mid-air crash. The scene had developed into a Grayskull and Havoc-powered rumble. He-Man wanted to help his friends, but he had to trust they could fend for themselves. As he watched Remy speeding around the grove, he wondered if this was true. Did she even have a plan, or was she totally out of control? Across the way, Skeletor was twirling his Havoc staff. The spectral blur of energy was heading straight for him. Remy apparently was planning to smash He-Man's uncle. Unfortunately, Skeletor was ready and blasted her with a steam of Havoc before she could get too close. The stunned master rolled straight between Trapjaw and Man-at-Arms. Trapjaw was moving closer and closer to his old apprentice, firing blast after blast at the shield. "You should be working at my side, not helping these fools," Trapjaw yelled. "At your side?" Man-at-Arms replied. "You took credit for everything I built. I taught you everything you know." "That is not true," Man-at-Arms replied. "You saw me build a self-defense robot as a 6-year-old kid." Trapjaw nodded, stopping his onslaught for a moment. "That was impressive." "You did teach me a little about drones, though," Man-at-Arms admitted. With a smile, he motioned at the flying lasers hovering over Trapjaw. Yet the Dark Master showed no fear. Instead, he opened his mouth, activating the spinning, terrifying maw of weaponry, and sucked in the laser drones one by one. Quickly, the cannons at the end of his arm changed shape, transforming into a laser chainsaw. Smiling, Trapjaw swung at a nearby tree, slicing the trunk in half. "Thanks for that, little guy," Trapjaw growled. "I love the taste of lasers." Man-at-Arms didn't wait to see if the chainsaw could cut through his shield, too. While Trapjaw stood gloating over his instant invention, Man-at-Arms dropped his force field and swung his power mace, striking the old boss right in the muscular stomach. The blow blasted at the villain across the clearing. Immediately, Man-at-Arms looked to his friends to see who needed his help. He-Man and Skeletor were locked in one-on-one battle. Remy was accelerating around the space, and Battlecat was pinning Beastman up against the trunk of a tree. This huge paw pressed into the snarling villain, and it looked like he'd gotten the best of Skeletor's Dark Master. Then Beastman smiled, one of his ugliest smiles in all of Eternia. His lips was scared, puffy, and purple. His teeth were yellow and green. His red beard was a scraggly, knotted mess, and his breath smelled like a rotting Gorgon carcass. But his timing was perfect. Beastman pushed back against Battlecat just as Remy sped past, and she accidentally crashed into the fearsome tiger. The pair rolled out of the clearing, leaving a lone dirt track in their wake. Worried for his friends, He-Man called out to see if they were hurt. He only took his attention off Skeletor for an instant, but that was enough. The bony villain pulled back on his Havoc staff, then swung it through a wide, powerful arc. With his legs braced and both hands clutching the weapon, he slammed it hard into He-Man's ribs. The power of the blow sent He-Man flying off the ground and against the trunk of an enormous tree. Dazed, he fell to the base of the tree, sliding down the thick moss-covered roots. Finally, he rolled to a stop on his back. His ribs ached, yet he had a strange feeling that he wasn't the only one who'd been hurt by the strike. Even though he'd heard an odd grunt, He-Man leaned his head back and looked up. The thick, towering, moss-lined tree seemed to lean over him as if it were alive. The petals of several unusual flowers drifted down. He-Man blinked. Was he seeing things, or had he woken up one of Krennic's relatives? His whole body was in pain, but he felt like he'd been hit by the Wind Raider. He knew that any lesser human might not have survived that strike from Skeletor, but He-Man was not a normal human. He was infused with the power of Grayskull, and it would take more than one powerful blow to defeat him. Gathering his strength, he rolled onto his hands and knees. He placed one on the huge fist into the dirt and gritted his teeth. Before he could climb to his feet, however, Skeletor blasted him again. Still groggy, He-Man didn't notice the glowing ram's head at the top of Skeletor's staff until it was right in front of his eyes. And this second blow was even more painful and powerful than the first. The staff slammed him in the chin, and the might of Skeletor lifted the hero straight off the ground and against the tree. Stunning, He-Man felt his back and head smack against the trunk with one great thud. He tried to gather his blast, but Skeletor wasted no time. Green light flashed from his havoc staff and wrapped around the hero, holding him in place. He-Man struggled against what felt like an unbreakable chains. Every square inch of him was trapped by havoc. He couldn't even move a finger, let alone a fist. Laughing, the villain lifted him slowly off the ground until He-Man's feet were at the level of Skeletor's chest. The hero He-Man feet couldn't run or jump, and although he still gripped the sword, his arms were pinned against his sides. He-Man felt powerless, and he could see that his friends were no better off. Beastman had his deadly whip poised and ready to strike. Somehow, Chapter had snagged the power mace from Man-at-Arms. Meanwhile, poor Krennic remained immobilized. Skeletor stood before He-Man. The villain's hood masked most of his head and face, enshrouding it in darkness and shadow. His eyes glowed an evil red, his powerful havoc staff radiating green. And he was flashing a ghastly and satisfying smile. "Now, little prince," the villain began, "you are going to tell me where you're hiding Castle Grayskull, or your friends will not leave this forest alive. That overgrown vine you're trying to protect will die, and the people of Eternia will starve." And that's the end of chapter 22. And apparently, Skeletor's gonna be in chapter... Oh, wait, Skeletor should be in each of the chapters since there are only 25 chapters. It took them this long to get Skeletor into this book. I guess that's why the next book is called I, Skeletor. So, friends, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on our social medias, Funky Play Brothers and Funky Play Bros. Support our vlog at Cash App with the $sign Funky Play Brothers. Thank you for watching. Bye.